The sun dipped low over the hills of Galilee, painting the sky in gold and crimson. As evening settled over the small village of Cana, lamps were lit, their flames flickering like stars drawn down to earth. Music filled the streets, drums, strings, and voices rising in celebration. This was a wedding, and in that world, a wedding was honor, identity, and a joy shared with the entire community. 4 days, families opened their homes and their hearts. To host well was everything. Among the guests sat Jesus of Nazareth. He wasn't famous yet, not followed by crowds. Too many. He was just another man from Galilee, seated quietly with a few disciples who were still learning who he truly was. His mother, Mary, was there too, watchful, thoughtful, carrying memories of promises spoken long ago. The celebration swelled as cups were raised again and again. Laughter spilled freely. Children darted between guests, and the bride and groom glowed with happiness, unaware of the shadow creeping toward their joy. Then it happened. The wine began to run out. At first, it was cana. Servant pausing too long at a jar, another whispering urgently. A nervous glance exchanged, a furrowed brow. Quiet panic spread like a crack forming beneath the surface of the celebration. To run out of wine was more than an oversight. It was a public failure, a disgrace that would be remembered long after the music faded. Mary noticed. She always did. Her eyes followed the servants, their confidence giving way to fear. She understood the weight of the moment, and she knew who her son was, even when the world did not. She approached Jesus. "They have no wine." Just 5 words, not a command, not a demand, only a need placed gently before him. Jesus looked at her, his voice calm, carrying a mystery even his disciples didn't yet understand. "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." The words lingered in the air. But Mary did not argue. She did not insist. She trusted. Turning to the servants, she spoke words that would echo through generations, words that define true faith. "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 large stone jars, cold, heavy, and empty. They were used for ceremonial washing, symbols of ritual and outward purity. Each jar could hold 20 or 30 gallons. They were ordinary, forgotten, unremarkable. Jesus stood and spoke again. "Fill the jars with water." The command made little sense. Water couldn't solve a wine shortage, yet the servants obeyed. They carried bucket after bucket, pouring until the jars were filled not halfway, but to the very brim. Jesus watched, then he said, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." This was the moment of risk. If 'tis failed, they would be blamed. If it was still water, they would be humiliated. Their hands trembled as they dipped the cup and walked toward the master of the feast. The master lifted the cup. He tasted, and everything changed. His face shifted from expectation to surprise, then to astonishment. This was no ordinary wine. It was rich, full-bodied, better than anything served at the beginning of the feast. He called the bridegroom aside, his voice filled with wonder. "Everyone brings out the best wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." The bridegroom smiled, accepting praise for a miracle he didn't even know had occurred. But the servants knew. The disciples knew. They had seen the water poured. They had heard the command spoken. They had witnessed the impossible made real. And in that quiet corner of the celebration, faith was born. This was the first sign through which Jesus revealed his glory. Not in a temple, not before kings, but at a wedding, in a moment of human need. In a place where joy was about to die, he turned water into wine. He turned shortage into abundance. He turned shame into celebration, and those who truly saw it understood. This was only the beginning.